my dad told my dead mother he would give her our daughter. The last thing my mother bought was a birthday cake for my daughter, Saren. The police report said it was still clutched in her hands when they pulled her from the wreck. A drunk in a semi-truck blew through a red light. That's all it took. 1 second, my mom was on her way to our house. The next, she was a statistic. And my daughter's 3rd birthday became the anniversary of her grandmother's death. Saren adored her Nain. It was her first word. Everyone says she's the spitting image of my mom, same wild curls, same stubborn set to her jaw. After it happened, Saren would cry for her every night. She's too young to get what gone forever means. Sometimes, in the dead of night, I'd hear her little voice call out Nain into the darkness of her room, and a piece of my own heart would just crumble. My dad, Owen, he just broke. He used to be the life of every party, a man with a laugh so big it could shake a room. Now, that man is gone. The only flicker of the old him I see is when he looks at Saren. I was holding it together with tape and glue, crying in the shower, staring at the wall for an hour instead of working, coping. It was Karis, my wife, who suggested the lake house. "We need a change of scenery, Reese," she said, her hand resting on my shoulder. "It's a place full of good memories of her. Maybe it'll help." I didn't know if anything could help, but the city was suffocating me. Every street corner held a memory. So I agreed. We both worked from home, so packing up for a few weeks wasn't a problem. Getting Dad to come with us, that was the real fight. He hadn't stepped foot outside his front door since the funeral. It took days of Carrie's and me tag-teaming him, begging and reasoning, before he finally, quietly, relented. The drive up was tense. Saren was fussy the whole way, which meant we arrived at the house with a screaming, exhausted toddler on our hands. The lake house looked just the same. Polished redwood and huge glass windows overlooking the water. My mom designed it herself. It was her sanctuary. Dad just stood on the gravel driveway staring at it. I didn't have to guess what he was thinking. I could feel the weight of his grief from 10 feet away. Karis, ever the rock, got us all inside and started on dinner. I was on unpacking duty. We were planning on staying for 3 weeks. Dad went straight to the downstairs master bedroom without a word. Our room was upstairs, and Saren usually slept in a cot next to our bed. There was also a playroom for her on our floor, filled with old toys from my childhood. It would need a good cleaning before she could use it. Dinner was a quiet, miserable affair. Mom's absence in this house, her house, was a physical presence. A hole at the table none of us could ignore. Saren, thank God, babbled enough for the 3 of us combined. For the first few days, we were ghosts. We drifted around the house, barely speaking, trapped in our own little bubbles of pain. On the 6th day, Dad shocked me. He suggested we go down to the lake. Era would have wanted us to, he said, a sad, watery smile on his face. We spent the afternoon by the water. Saren splashed in the shallows and chased dragonflies. I saw my dad genuinely smile for the first time in a month. For a few hours, it almost felt like we could heal. That night, after dinner, Carrie started on the dishes. "Can you give Saren a bath?" "On it," I said, and headed upstairs. I heard her laughing before I even got to the top step. She was in the playroom. "Hi, sweet pea," I said, leaning against the door frame. She squealed and clapped her hands. Nain, Nain, Nain. The familiar ache clenched in my chest. "Nain's in the stars now, remember, baby." "Nain here," she insisted, pointing to the empty corner of the room. "Yeah, she is. She's always watching over her little star." I scooped her up, and she buried her head in my neck, still giggling. "All right, who's ready for a bath?" "Baba," she yelled, kicking her little legs. Later that night, with Saren sleeping soundly between us, I told Carries what happened. She just held me tighter. "It's going to get better, Reese, I promise." I wanted to believe her. God, I really did. The next morning, Saren woke up with one word on her lips: play. "After you have some breakfast, little monster," Carrie said, wagging a finger at her. "No." Saren's face crumpled, and she let out a piercing shriek. A full-blown tantrum. It was so out of character for her. She was usually such a sunny kid. Carrie's, just let her play for a bit, I said. She's never like this. You're gonna spoil her, she sighed, but she was already softening. That's my job. Carrie's just rolled her eyes, but she let her go. Saren spent the entire day in that playroom. She screamed bloody murder anytime we tried to get her to leave. For lunch, for a nap, anything. We ended up having to bring her food to her on a little plastic plate. It was bizarre. What's gotten into Saren? Dad asked at dinner, his brow furrowed with worry. I have no idea, I said. She's completely obsessed with that playroom. Maybe she's getting sick, Dad offered. Kids get cranky right before they come down with something. I'll check her for a fever when I put her to bed, Carrie said. That night, after we finally managed to wrestle a sleeping Saren into her cot, Carrie said something that made the hair on my arms stand up. Reese, I think your mother is here. I just stared at her. Don't even joke about that, Carries. I'm not joking. Listen to me. Her voice was low and trembling. I went to get Saren for dinner, and I heard something. Music. Coming from the playroom. It was that old music box from your parents' room, the one she loved. I remembered it. A little silver thing with a ballerina. It played some classical tune I could never name. When I opened the door, she continued, her eyes wide. The music stopped. Saren was just standing in the middle of the room, humming the tune, staring at the wall. So she found the music box. She's a kid, Carries. She likes music. My voice sounded weak even to me. It wasn't in the room, Reese. I checked. It's still on the dresser in their bedroom. And that's not all. I think your dad knows. Why else would he suddenly be smiling? He's been acting different ever since we got here. I shook my head, rubbing my temples. You're stressed. We're all grieving. Our minds are playing tricks on us. You think I'm crazy. Tears welled up in her eyes. It wasn't an accusation. It was a statement. I don't know what to think, babe. You're telling me my dead mom's ghost is playing music for our daughter. It's a lot to process. I'm gonna sleep in the guest room tonight. I just need some space to think. I gave her a quick, inadequate kiss and left before she could say anything else. I woke up around 3 in the morning. I'm a log when I sleep, so something must have pulled me out of it. And then I heard it. A faint, tinny melody. The music box. It was coming from downstairs. A cold dread, heavy and metallic, settled in my stomach. I crept out of the guest room, my heart hammering against my ribs. The music was coming from my parents' bedroom. The door was cracked open just enough for a sliver of light to escape. I heard my dad's voice, a low whisper. Are you sure? Can you really come back to me? A pause. The music box tinkled. A life? Another pause. There's no other way? He was talking to someone. I pushed the door open a fraction of an inch, my hand shaking. My dad was standing in front of my mom's old vanity, his back to me. The silver music box was open on the polished wood surface, its little ballerina spinning, spinning, spinning. He was talking to the music box. Then I heard the other voice. It came from the box itself. Distorted, thin, but unmistakably my mother's. It's the only way, my love. The breath caught in my throat. I couldn't move, couldn't think. A life for a life, the voice from the box sang softly. That is the bargain. And it has to be Saren? Dad's voice cracked. A pure soul is the strongest anchor. The brightest light to call me back from the dark. No. No fucking way. This isn't real. Dad. The word tore from my throat, raw and loud. He spun around. And as he did, the voice from the music box shifted. For just 1 second, the sweet, melodic tone warped into something else. Something deep, guttural, and impossibly ancient. A sound of grinding rock and dry rot that made my teeth ache. Then, just as quickly, it was my mother's voice again. But I had heard it. The mask had slipped. Reese, my dad said, his eyes wild with a terrifying kind of hope. You don't understand. Your mother can come back. We just need Saren. We can have more children, son. But I can't get her back. I didn't listen to another word. I slammed the door shut, fumbled with the old skeleton key in the lock, and turned it. I trapped him in there. Reese, open this door. Reese, you're ruining everything, he screamed, pounding on the solid wood. I scrambled up the stairs, my feet slipping on the slick varnish. I burst into our room and shook Carrie's awake. Get Saren, now. We have to go. The terror in my voice must have been enough. She didn't ask a single question. She grabbed our sleeping daughter from the cot while I snatched the car keys in the go bag. Carrie's always keeps packed. We flew down the stairs. The pounding from the master bedroom was frantic now, laced with my father's enraged shouts. As we reached the front door, Carrie's looked back at me, her face pale. What about your dad? He's not coming. She didn't argue. We're in a motel 2 hours away. My phone has been buzzing non-stop for the last hour. First, it was Dad, a string of texts apologizing, telling me it was a misunderstanding. Now they're threats. Vicious, ugly things I can't bear to read twice. Saren woke up a few minutes ago. Karis is holding her, rocking her back and forth, but she's agitated. She keeps asking for Nain. I don't know what the fuck to do. I saw something in that room. I heard it. It wasn't my mother. It was wearing her voice like a costume, and my father, my own fucking father, was willing to sacrifice his granddaughter for it. We can't go home. He knows where we live. Do I call the cops? What do I tell them? My dad got tricked by a haunted music box. They'd lock me up. Do I call a priest? I feel like I'm losing my mind. Carrie's is trying to be strong, for me and for Saren, but I can see the fear in her eyes. We're safe, for now. But I don't think any of this is over. Just now, Saren stopped crying. She's quiet. She's just sitting on the ugly motel bedspread, humming. It's the tune from the music box.